Right, today is the day we're going to work on our cape. We have finished note-taking template. You might have chosen to type yours. I personally like to handwrite as I read websites. It also helps me with plagiarism, so I can read it and then write it in my own words. So I'm going to use these notes to create my cape. Let's get started. So looking at my notes for Minnie Jean Brown, I know that I want to make my symbol of the hero in the middle. And so I'm just going to use a pencil for this first one. And I'm just going to do a rough outline of my cape, and then I'll add details later. So I know I want the symbol in the middle. You might choose to do yours otherwise. And that's going to be that education symbol. And then I know I want my quote for her right here. I'm going to write my quote for her right there. I just think it would look good across the top. When I think about who influenced her, I was thinking maybe the base of the cape, because that's that grounding. Who do you look up to in your own life? And that's where I'm going to write about Daisy. And remember that these symbols are required. And so the symbols are going to stand out as the thing that allows us to glance at this display of capes and all have what's in common. So this is going to be your quote. And then for influencers, I'm going to want this growing flower right here. And so I'm going to want that there. Feel free actually to cut these out if you're feeling like you can't really, draw them correctly. Feel free to cut this out if you wanted to and put it on your cape. Or you could make a bigger icon, and let me see what that might look like. I might put a big light bulb right here, because that's what I want my reader to really remember about Daisy Bates. Remember that when you do this cape first, you're going to want to draw real lightly and then go over it with Sharpie. And then I'm going to put some of the words here. I'm going to say stand, or I'm going to say stood up for a fair and equal education. And that's not necessarily exactly what I had on my notes, but I think that, right, I'm going to put some lines here to make sections, and then I'm going to put the sacrifice right here, because that's really important also to put in the middle of my cape. So I'm going to put that warning sign, and I'm going to say she sacrificed. For education. Remember, she got expelled. And risked for life, comma, verbal and physical attacks. When you're doing a cape like this, we call it a one-page report, I think along the border is something to really keep in mind as you're thinking about what to include on your cape, because the border catches your eye, and it's an artwork. It's something, what is along the border? And for me, it's not a quote from her, but it's a quote from one of the articles. The bravery gave other students the courage to press forward in the years to come. And for me, that stands out as something I'm going to fit along the bottom. I'm not going to put around the whole cape, but I'm going to put that along the bottom. And it really goes with the influences. So I'm going to put another flower because that catches our eye. As I look back at my note-taking template, I'm realizing you only need to include 4 more of the following. You might not include all of them, but what I'm realizing is that this first half of, I haven't put Little Rock, Arkansas, and I haven't put that she was part of the Little Rock Nine, the big idea. And that's kind of a big deal for me. And so as I'm developing my cape, I realized, I don't want the quote here at the top. I'm going to put the quote in the background. And instead, I'm going to put the big idea there at the top. And so I'm going to make this POW symbol. Again, you can copy it if you want. And that's where I'll put that she was a high school student who volunteered to integrate an all-white high school. And then I really have to think about my last piece of her quote. And for my particular cape, the only place is here. So I think I'll put the quote here. And her name, of course. I'm going to write it big along the side. So now that I have kind of a rough outline, I'm going to go ahead and get my Sharpie. So after I looked at my note template and put all of the pieces onto my cape, I'm looking at it and now I'm thinking, okay, what's missing? What needs to be called attention to? I'm obviously going to make her name bolder and I'm going to add some color to different pieces. So here's my final product, fifth graders. I added color in certain parts. I didn't color over the font because I didn't want that to take away from the meaning. I could have typed different sections, but notice the icons are all there. Your eye goes to certain sections of the cape. Your cape might look similar in the format, or it might take on a whole new creative approach. Have fun with this project. Remember, these are going to be hung up in the main hallway of Centennial, viewed by all. So do your best. I can't wait to see all these capes of heroes in our main hallway. Have fun with this project, fifth graders.